Where is my Hanna? Where is my Hanna? There is my Hanna.
Hiya.
I miss my Hanna in the quarantine.
Remote time. So weird.
Your hair has grown.
It's
long.
This is what happens when you don't ready.
Oh my god. Oh my
god. Yeah, it's been since February.
I was doing the ZZ Top beard and I got
saw that
pretty far.
And then, yeah.
But I realized that there was just no point to having that big of a beard. Like it was just
no, and you'll start scaring your children at some point.
Oh, they're already fucked up. It's too late.
Fair enough.
That ship has sailed.
That's
we're vamping, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are here to make sure that everybody who is here wants to be here. So we'll probably be starting in a couple minutes. Like we'll say 9:05.
Fine.
Grab your Halloween candy, your popcorn, your drinks, your cider, your s'mores.
She had said there was a way to see, but I see it's a ticker up there.
Maybe it's just us. So yeah, I feel like we had one trick-or-treater today.
Oh yeah,
just one, and that to me is
it's sad.
Crazy. I mean, I commend that one, and I feel like, my God, you know, like we were ready for people to be there, and we were just like, you know, I think we were preparing to be like, you know, don't, you know, like here's your candy, like like tongs and like
throw it at them, go fetch.
And it was we have all this Halloween candy now to eat. And I'm gonna eat it. Damn it.
I believe in you, Clay.
It's my job.
That's
You feeling ready for this?
I think so. Here we go.
You know what you're gonna do?
Pumpkin pie. What's that?
You know what you're gonna do? You got it in you?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
It's gonna be a pleasant surprise. I think it's time.
Okay, it's time.
Ladies and gentlemen,
welcome
Pie Show. That's Hanna Cheek.
That is Clay McLeod Chapman.
Happy Halloween, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. In any other circumstance, in any other situation, we would be doing this probably at Under St. Mark's. But given the fact that, I don't know if you heard this, but there's this global pandemic, and it's, you know, it's keeping us at home. And because this is definitely a show that you would need a spit guard for if you were to do this in a closed space. So this is for your benefit, just as much as it is for
people. Yeah.
We're going to do 4 stories for you tonight. Some of them old, some of them new. You're in for a Halloween treat, and we really, really appreciate you joining us tonight. The kids are asleep. The trick-or-treaters are gone. Turn the lights down, and let's do some stories. You ready?
I am ready. Are you ready?
I think so. As ready as I'm ever going to be. I'm going to start us off tonight with a newish story that I don't think anyone has probably heard here in this virtual grid. And it's called Baby Carrots. Emma brought home a bad batch of baby carrots. You could just tell by looking at the bag. Gnarled things, really, like fat fingers, their pudgy knuckles pressing up against the clear plastic. See, I had volunteered to help unpack the groceries as a peace offering, finding them nestled between the OJ and eggs. So, you know, I just grabbed the bag and started tossing them into the air, feeling those baby carrots slap and settle against my skin. Ugh. I hate to say it, hon, but I think these baby carrots have gone beyond their sell-by date. They look fine to me, Emma said, without actually looking, I might add, you know, leaning into the fridge instead. She hasn't made eye contact with me for the last 14 hours, but that's the new world order of things, I guess, you know. Stilted dinners and passive-aggressive conversations. Most of the time, they're moist, you know, plump and crisp. But I don't know, man. These baby carrots looked like downright desiccated to me. I mean, they're supposed to be smooth, sanded down to a perfect rotund stub. But these ugly little buggers, they must have slipped right past the carrot inspector. I mean, these guys were segmented, crooked. A few of them were even tumorous, bubbling over with orange cysts. I mean, they looked like warts on a witch's finger. I couldn't shake off the feeling that they were all pointing at me. You know, this is all your fault, your fault. Sean, our son, he loves baby carrots. I mean, it's just about the only vegetable Emma can ever get him to eat nowadays. Our crisper is always stocked with like a bag or two. They never last. The turnover for taproots is a pretty swift in our household here. For lunch, Emma packs him like a Ziploc bag full of them, like a whole handful, just to give him something to crunch on at school. It's the only snack he ever asks for anymore. You know, mommy, mommy, I want some baby carrots. Mommy, mommy, I want some baby carrots, please. I mean, I'm surprised that his skin hasn't turned orange yet. I mean, isn't that a thing? Too much beta carotene in your bloodstream flushes your flesh into this gingery hue until it leaves you looking like you spent a few too many hours in the tanning booth. I got nothing against baby carrots, okay? But you do realize they're not really babies, right? I mean, it's a lie. One big capitalist fib. It's all about the rebranding, huh? Baby carrots are actually the ugly nubs of adult carrots, you know, sliced and sanded down to look like yummier looking stubs. They have been bathed in chlorine, you know, bleaching out all of the foodborne bacteria, rinsing away the E. coli still clinging to your carrot. The same chemical solution that obliterates poo in the community pool is soaking into my son's favorite snack. It's pretty appetizing, right? Emma would suggest that I get over it. Oh, come on, hon. They're just baby carrots. Oh, yeah. I can even hear the shard in her voice. Does everything have to be a consumerist conspiracy with you? I am not some card-carrying member of the anti-baby carrot lobby here. You know, I just find it particularly off-putting that certain people in our family would prefer to eat some selectively bred, fabricated brand of trademarked baby carrots than the real organic deal, just because they're cute, just because they're babies. Emma and I weren't sleeping in separate beds yet. I mean, we probably should have, but you know, we wanted to be we wanted to be adults about all of this. We still took turns spooning one another, but on this night, you know, Emma had already assumed the facing out position, facing away from me. You know, I didn't know if this was a statement in of itself that I shouldn't swoop in for the spoon, because you know, romance was never technically out of the equation on nights like this. But we would have to act fast, you know, dragging the other person out from the quicksand of their sleep with a little romantic gesture, like a kiss that extends beyond a pleasant good night peck, maybe a little nuzzle on the neck, a wandering hand, perhaps, you know, that sort of thing. I felt Emma's finger, her thumb, actually. Oh, wow. isn't isn't this a pleasant surprise? Emma was probing, exploring. Her skin felt cool against my lower back as she just wormed her way down. I mean, this is totally unlike her. Emma never went back there before. Oh, hey now. Where are you heading there, Tiger? I heard Emma's breath purling over in her throat. Her body had slackened against the mattress. How could she bend her arm backwards like that? Uh, that's when I felt her thumb take the plunge. No, no, not her thumb. Not Emma at all. I mean, even then, when I knew it couldn't possibly be her, seeing her fast asleep in front of me, I still thought of this as my wife's disembodied thumb. I reached back to swat her hand away. Only I found nothing. I mean, no one was there. No wrist or arm or anything. And yet, I still felt it squirming forward, tunneling. So I clenched. I rolled over onto my back, taking most of the sheets with me, elevating my pelvis into the air like I was in some sort of like frenzied yoga pose, the timid tortoise or the puckering oyster. Nothing was getting back there. I had to dig in, literally dig my fingernails in and extract that phantom finger out from my ass. But of course it wasn't a finger. I mean, of course it was a carrot, a baby carrot. I mean, it squirmed in my grip, writhing between my fingers like some kind of panicking maggot. I mean, if I let it go, I was pretty sure that it would just roll right off the bed and crawl away, and I'd never see it again. Bye-bye. What are you doing? Emma mumbled right next to me. Even when she is half asleep, I still can hear the ice pick in her voice. But you know what? I was already out of bed, rushing for the kitchen. Just getting some water, I said. Tossing the baby carrot into the sink, I watched it loll about the basin. I mean, I don't know how long I stared at it, just watching it worm over the dirty dishes, attempting to scale the marble and escape. But I turned the faucet on, the rush of water sending that baby carrot tumbling down the drain into the garbage disposal. And I flipped the switch, and that garburator chewed right on through. I left it on a little longer than I needed to, just in case. The high-pitched whine and whir of the disposal's blades just humming up from the drain, just to be sure, just to know that nothing came crawling out. The bag had been torn open, ripped from the inside out. It's totally empty. I mean, what remained of the plastic was still resting at the crisper's bottom, flaccid, as if somebody had eaten all of those baby carrots and just forgot to throw the bag away. I mean, where did all those baby carrots go, huh? I mean, this wasn't something that I could bring up with Emma or Sean, obviously. Oh God, I was supposed to have the talk with him today after school, but my mind was elsewhere on other things, such as, did you know that a bag usually can hold up to 48 baby carrots, give or take? 48. All morning, if I saw a flash of orange from the corner of my eye, I would stop and turn, just wait and see if anything just came wriggling. But I mean, nothing ever did. Obviously, I I called in sick after Emma left for work, and I had the whole house to myself. And I spent the day peeling back the carpet, pushing back the couch, flipping the cushions over, digging into the freezer, pulling out the canned vegetables from the pantry, sifting through the sock drawer, the closets, the bathroom cabinet, under the bed. I couldn't find them. Any of them. I found a few stray AA batteries, plenty of pocket change, even a picture Sean had drawn of the whole fam, all three of us holding hands, smiling our crooked Crayola lips. No peach crayon for Sean. No. He colored our skin in orange. It was my turn to pick him up that morning, that afternoon after school. Time to have the talk, But the moment he hopped in the car, all he kept saying was that he was hungry, that he wanted a snack. Okay, yeah, in a little while, sport, promise. But first, I was hoping that you and I could have a little chat. Oh, but my tummy's grumbling, Dad. I hear you, pal. But please, there's something that I want to talk to you about, okay? Can I please have some baby carrots, please? No! No baby carrots! I'll get you some goddamn Doritos, okay? I'm not saying that I am the best father here, or husband, or human being. But all I'm trying to say is that feelings change. People change. People grow apart. Sometimes they want different things, need different things in their lives. And sometimes you can find those things in other people, new people. I mean, it's nobody's fault. I mean, it happens. Shit happens. And, the most we can hope for, if it happens, when it happens, is to understand that no one is to blame for feeling the way they do. Not you or your mom or me, for that matter. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I mean, it just did. Okay? Sean? Dinner was pretty stilted that night. Sean wouldn't look up from his meal. Emma just kept grating her knife through her food, mangling her meal, dissecting it rather than eating it. Lord knows where my head was. Oh God, I couldn't focus on what was 2 inches in front of me, let alone what was on my plate. Up until I saw the flash of orange right under my nose. There. Right there, nestled next to the spare ribs, a writhing pile of baby carrots soaked in olive oil. Flecks of diced parsley clung to their charred skin, and I pushed my chair back. What the hell is that? Butter roasted baby carrots, Emma said very slowly. I might add, those are baby carrots, right? Yes, they are. Where did you get them? From the fridge? Where in the fridge? In the drawer, where they always are. The recipe said that I could use baby carrots. Sean speared one on his fork and brought it up to his mouth. He hesitated before biting, realizing that I was staring at him. He looked frightened. Yeah, he should be frightened. Look at the carrot. Look at the baby carrot, the squirming auburn worm writhing about the tine. And I smacked the fork out of his hand. Can't you see it? Can't you see? I slept on the couch that night. We agreed that it would probably be best if I checked into a hotel in the morning, as long as I could stay the night. But in the living room was still. Not a carrot was stirring, I couldn't hear anything. So eventually I just drifted off into a dream. Dream about carrot. The first carrot. Dacus crota. Its roots stem from Persia, cultivated for its aromatic leaves and seeds. It would take centuries before its woody core would become the focal point of its majesty. The original taproot was bitter, arboreal. It held medicinal properties, aspects of magic for fertility rites, for babies. The ideal soil for it is soft, warm, moist. It needs room to grow, to take root. I woke up choking, drowning on the couch. I couldn't breathe. I mean, someone had poured cement over my face, sealing up my nostrils, my mouth. I could feel it working its way into my ears. So I sat up gagging, and I honked until I dislodged the obstacle from my throat. The baby carrot landed at my feet. Oh, it glistened in saliva as it wrapped around my toe. Oh, I could feel them. All of them. The baby carrots. They were worming their way into every orifice, massaging and flexing and tensing with their desiccated skin. They wanted to come in, take root. And I stumbled to the bathroom, shaking off as many of them as I could. Oh, the pitter-pat of baby carrots thumped along the floor. And when I flicked on the light in the bathroom and I found my reflection in the mirror, I still gasped, even though, it shouldn't have come as such a surprise. I mean, my left nostril had distended itself. It looked as if I'd been punched right in the face, the flesh bruised and bloated to abnormal proportions. Another baby carrot wriggled in my ear. I could feel the nub nuzzling against my eardrum. And I just swatted at the side of my head until I finally dislodged it. That baby carrot had forced its way through my septum. There was nothing to stop it from creeping up into my nasal cavity. All I could do was pinch at the bridge of my nose. Oh, tweezers! Tweezers! I grabbed Emma's tweezers out from the cabinet and I dug them in. Only I ended up accidentally pushing the baby carrot further up in my nose, sending this crunching surge through my skull. My eyes were stinging. I couldn't see. I felt it wriggle, forcing its way up, each fleshy segment undulating like an inchworm. I could feel its pulse pounding against my nasal cavity, this low wattage throb. It had a heartbeat. It had a heart! Fuck you, baby carrot! Fuck you! Mucus slickened up the baby carrot like afterbirth, still coating a newborn. My blood filled in its wrinkles. It looked like a latticework of red veins tethered against its orange body. still crisp. I felt that satisfying crunch at the very back of my molars. My teeth singing in its mastication. Oh, this one had a bitter taste. It was rusty, unwashed. This was a woody textured taproot, an ancient thing, as old as the earth itself. I chewed and I chewed. God help me, I swallowed. I let them come in. I let them take root. My babies. My baby carrots. Oh! I just felt it kick. Thank you.
Come on, Clay. How do you sleep at night?
Like a
Jesus,
baby.
like a baby.
Like a baby. How you doing?
Good. I have so many things I'm gonna never forget from that story.
I mean,
And
don't-
thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
You got something for us?
I do.
Yeah?
I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. I'll count you out. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Hanna Cheek doing a personal favorite of ours called Overbite.
Yeah. Thank you. Hold on. Before we go any further, honey, I gotta warn you. I've bitten off the tongues of more men than I'd like to remember. Oh, all by accident now. Don't get me wrong. But I have left men speechless all across this country. You simply take that risk when you kiss a lady like me. My mouth might as well be a roulette wheel, because the moment it opens, you're gambling your taste buds away. The muscles along my jaw limber up the longer we make out until your tongue just tickles the roof of my mouth. And then crack. My mandibles snap, sealing my teeth together like a bear trap. No. They call me the iron jaw for a reason, sweetie. Once my masseter muscles cinch, there is no unlocking them. I can hang from that harness for hours, spinning by my teeth until I have nearly chewed through the trapeze. These pearly whites have held me in the air for nearly half my life, spending as much of my time suspended above the audience as I have on the ground, because I was born into this business. See, my mother and father had worked me into their act by the time I was 5, just raising me in the air. And once my baby teeth had all fallen out, they started feeding me carrots for every meal, making me masticate my day away till I'd laced my jaw on a thick strip of sinew. I had the puffiest cheeks I'd ever seen. My buccinator muscles all bulked beyond belief. Adults always ooh and ah at me, thinking I'm just cuter than a little Cupid doll. None of them know I'd bitten off about half my own tongue before it even turned 10. Snipping another millimeter off in my sleep almost every night. I've been left with this lisp, mincing my words like I'm talking with my mouth full all the time. That scab at the tip of my clumsy tongue just tripped me up in my pronunciation. People think I'm mute, sounding all deaf and dumb, so I just keep my lips sealed, talking to nobody. I've been bound to the big top on my jaw for years. I've wanted to leave. I have tried 100 times, and no matter where we perform, there will be men lining up by my dressing room, promising, what? Take me away from all this? but I have chewed through suitors like a box of chocolates, nibbling into enough men to know what's really at their center. Those promises always end up empty. Their intentions are never as sweet as they seem, believe me. Most of them just want cop a feel, slip me a kiss when their wives aren't looking. But, well, then I met Reginald. He'd been standing by my dressing room, waiting by the door. As soon as I come walking in, he's handing me a bouquet of roses, saying he's never laid eyes on a beautiful thing like me. He'd seen the show once already, sitting in the front row the night before, and as soon as he saw me spinning from that harness, he said his heart started palpitating like a popcorn kernel about to burst. He'd come back on his own very next night, just see my routine all over again. See me. Our tent was set up along the outskirts of this town, giving him a chance to see me wriggle through the air for the next 5 days straight, and he kept coming back, night after night, waiting for me once each show was over with another dozen roses in his hand. My trailer was littered in bouquets by the end of the week. I could barely get to my bed. There were so many. And, once we crossed over the state line, I figured that'd be the last I'd see of the man. But in the middle of my routine, the very next night, I looked down into the crowd only to find Reginald sitting there in the front row, just marveling up at me. He smiled, which got me to grin back, only for my lips to slip, and I nearly lost hold of the trapeze. And the audience gave a gasp as I nibbled my grip back up onto the bar. But Reginald, he stood up, opening his arms, just ready to catch me if I was to fall. Nobody'd ever want to be my safety net before. And he was waiting for me after the show, as always, but no roses this time, though. He had a wedding ring, 24 carats. He was willing to leave everything for me, he said, as long as I was willing to leave the circus. He promised to buy me a house. I'd have a home that wasn't on wheels. I'd never need to hit the road again. I'd be rooted for once. And I didn't know what to say. My jaw just dropped, just empty of any words. Only for Reginald to kiss me, pressing his lips against mine, and my mouth only opened wider, his tongue just easing inside. He tasted like liquor, as if he'd slipped a sip of whiskey before seeing me, helping him work up the courage to propose. But I had never drank any alcohol before. My tongue suddenly stinging with its aftertaste. My eyes started to water. That liquor burn was so unbearable. And there was a tap at my gag reflex, as if some rat had stepped onto a mousetrap, setting my jaw right off. Simply swung shut, my canines clamping together. And everything within my mouth went warm. This sudden rush of blood swelling up inside my cheek. His tongue was still flickering over mine, as if Reginald wanted to keep kissing me, and it wriggled down my throat like some determined worm, aiming for the heart of this apple. Well, choking, I didn't have much choice but to swallow. This twitching bit of muscle made its way down into my stomach. I could feel it quiver through, settling into my belly. And Reginald, he fell to the floor, his cheeks just streaming red. Whenever he tried to scream, his lips would split into this flood of blood, just gurgling up a wet sound, just bubbling out from his hollow mouth. Well, I swore to myself I would never let something like that ever happen again. I kept clear of my male admirers, denying their company after every show, no matter how adamant they were about seeing me. I refused to talk to anybody, keeping my lips sealed for weeks, only opening my mouth for the trapeze, with my lips wrapped around that handle, hiding these teeth. I've dangled over these men's heads like I was bait. I'm the circus's worm. I hang off this fishing hook, luring these men away from their money. And if any of them are brave enough to bite, making their way backstage, well, they don't even realize they've been snagged. Not until I have to unhook them. Not until their lips are pressed firmly against mine and my reflexes kick in, uprooting their voice so good. I've got a dozen tongues tumbling around in my tummy right now. I have digested the ejaculations of the most eloquent men, living off their prattle, false promises, as if their chatter had all the nutrients I needed to survive while this circus eats the rest. Do you see me up there tonight? Audience was speechless, getting all tongue-tied through my routine. Halfway through the act, I started wondering what it'd be like to let go. I bit down on that handle so hard, nearly snapped in half. When an animal is caught in a snare, it'll chew through its own leg to set itself free. Me, I just have to gnaw my way through this harness and free fall through 50 feet of air. You'd catch me, wouldn't you? Of course you would. You wouldn't let me down. Come on now, honey. Don't be afraid. Kiss me. Just a peck. I promise I won't bite. Ta-da!
Oh, man, I missed it.
An oldie.
Mama wriggling tongues in my belly.
I know, we've got a wriggling theme tonight.
Yeah. Maybe we'll keep wriggling.
Perhaps we will.
It's a night for wriggles. Hey, I gotta admit, I think I changed my mind. I think I'm gonna do it.
Good, because I was looking at the title and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Like I want to tell a ghost story. I want to tell a spooky story.
Yeah.
This is Halloween, right?
It's the right way to go. Yes.
Yeah. Do you mind?
What are you doing?
I think I'm gonna do. Do you remember that newish one, the nail on the head?
Hammer. I love it.
Don't give it away.
I didn't.
I think I'm gonna do that one. That's?
I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
I love it. I love it very much.
Cool.
Go. Claim McLeod Chapman, everybody. Boom.
This one's called Nail on the Head. Where did the hammer come from? It's a good question. It was in my house, therefore it was my hammer, I guess. Mine now, at least. I must have gotten it from somewhere. The hardware store, sure. But, even though I have like zero recollection of ever buying it, I mean, it wasn't my wife's. People simply pick up tools over time, a hammer here, a screwdriver there. And, after a few years, somewhere in your 30s, I guess, suddenly you have amassed yourself a complete tool set without even realizing it. So, I inherited this hammer somehow, a Breck and Meyer claw hammer, solid titanium head. Titanium apparently dampens the amount of recoil far more than steel, so it's like easier on your wrists, but you can hammer away for hours and hardly feel the impact. When I picked it up, I mean, I was I was surprised at how light it was. It had a 16-inch curved hickory handle. It was covered in rust. Rubbing my thumb along the grain, I felt some of it flake off. And I figured it was just the varnish chipping away. But no, this was crusted. Scraping my fingernail over the wood, I realized that the lacquer to this hammer wasn't what was giving it such a rusted finish. No, this was blood. Someone's blood had seeped into the grain, and there was a lot of it. Whose hammer was this? Nobody's ever gonna mistake me for Mr. Fix-It. But now that I had my own hammer, I felt like I could repair anything. My wife could make fun of me all she wanted, but I could nail anything now. First up was a picture frame of me and Emma and Sean, all 2 years of him. Emma had already asked me twice to hang it. So, I figured I'd knock it off the list straight away. So I lined that nail up along the wall, and I brought that hammer back and smashed my thumb. Really landed it, too. Everything went blindingly white behind my eyes, and suddenly I know exactly how it feels to puncture someone's skull. It's like drywall crumbling, only wetter, I guess. I could see it so clearly. The hammer's bell pops open a hole the size of a silver dollar. You can just spin the hammer around and use the claws to crack that cranium back even wider, as wider as you want. All you got to do is just slip the... And I gasped back to the living room. It took me a moment to realize where I was, what time it was, who I was. I felt nauseous. There was this low wattage throb just pulsing out from my hand. My thumb had turned a deep purple. There was blood pooling up in below the fingernail, just flooding underneath. But I still had that hammer in my hand. I hadn't let it go. Whoever this hammer belonged to before me, I think that they did awful things with them, bloody things. I know this because whenever I take the hammer into my hands, I can't help but think of doing bloody things with them too. There just have been so many repairs to do around the house, It's not like I had time to go out and buy another hammer. I already had a hammer. It worked perfectly fine, better than fine. And they just don't make them like they used to. A Breckenmeyer? I mean, come on. Feel how lightweight it is. I mean, you can pound a nail much faster with it because you're not swinging steel. It takes fewer strikes because the rate of energy transfer, your arm doesn't tire out so quickly. More energy, more nails, more nails, more nails. One of these newfangled hammers would have broke off before I could even finish my work. The head would have probably dislodged, popping off the handle while I'm banging away. And where would we be then, huh? No. My Breckenmeyer was the right tool, the efficient tool. It is an extension of myself, a mighty fist. When I held it, I had its power. I felt its majesty. We had quite a lot of time with each other, the whole weekend, to talk, There's so much work to be done around the house. There was absolutely no time to dilly-dally, to sleep or eat. Not with all the walls that needed to be filled and opened, not to mention the nails. Oh my God, so many nails, all of them in need of finding their home. I was soaking wet by the time I finished. I was just covered in sweat, sore all over. My muscles ached. I could barely lift my hand anymore. Still held on to that hammer though. I couldn't let it go. A wisp of auburn hair had tangled itself into the hammer's claws. It's funny, I remember thinking, my wife has auburn hair. I hadn't noticed her on the floor. But at first I figured that it was just a part of the work that was still needing to be finished, a plank that had a few too many nails sticking out from it, like a pincushion, His name had been Edmund. Edmund Pendleton. I know this because I have his hammer. I know it's his because I've seen everything he's done with it. Everyone he murdered. Whenever I hold it in my hand, I see every swing, every cudgel, every strike. I feel the ripple of impact reverberate through my bones. The energy of it transfers up my arm, and I know what that moment felt like to him. How soft it was, how hard. What I don't understand is where all these nails came from. I mean, how they got in everything in our house, the walls, the floor, all of the furniture. They're all studded with nails now, like sea urchins throughout the house. Sean is still in his crib. Or maybe it's a stuffed porcupine, I don't know. I mean, how he didn't wake up with all that hammering going on throughout the house is anybody's guess. Ooh, thank you.
Yikes.
Spooky, scary. Spooky, scary. It's Halloween. You gotta do something.
Right. I'm glad you showed
like a little spooky, scary.
Also, I love that you were like, don't give it away. And then in your first sentence, you're like, I had a hammer.
I mean, if I had a hammer.
Very
different. That's the only part. Hannah, do you want to do one more story?
I would love to.
Yeah? Is it what I think it is?
It is.
Oh my gosh. We have props, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. I have to remember this is not mime and I cannot throw it.
Water it down. Water it down.
Yes, or not.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, for our last story for the night, Hanna Cheek is going to bring it home with a very personal favorite. It's been a while since I've heard this one. My God. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Bridesmaid.
Can I get everybody's attention, please? I have an announcement I would like to make. When I start speaking, all cameras flip to me, bitches, because I'm a hostess of this Zoomy mostess. So everybody else got to say something about my little sister. Now it is my turn. I didn't prepare a speech like the best man over there, but that's okay. I'll just wing it. If I have another martini, I might even say something profound. Probably not. To my baby sister, Sybil. May you and your husband have a happy life together. Mom and Dad always knew you'd make it to the altar before me. Then again, they're not banking on seeing me getting hitched anytime soon. I know you would have tossed the bouquet my way if you could, sis, but save me the favors. Huh? Holy matrimony isn't my idea of how I want to spend the rest of my life. Besides, now that you've tied the knot, you're off the hook for good, right? Who cares about what happens to me? You're the one who's leaving the family. Say I do, and poof, there goes your maiden name. My little sister doesn't exist anymore. She's become some other woman. But before you turn into Mrs. Peterson, I have a little something I want to get you. Just hold on for Mr. Karaoke. You're so vain. Sing it, everybody. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. You're so vain. I bet you think this song is about you. Don't you? Don't you? Don't you? Don't you? Why isn't anybody else singing? I mean, it's better if everybody was singing. I didn't write the song. I'm just singing. This is just my interpretation. You know what? Fuck it. Fine. Forget it. Party poopers. All this white's making me dizzy anyways. You know what a white wedding is supposed to symbolize? It means my little sister over in that little square is still a virgin. But if she thinks she can get away with wearing that dress, then I must be coming up for sainthood, because I know for a fact that that hymen hasn't been intact for years now. To my new brother-in-law. Yeah. Welcome to the family, brah. See you at the dinner table at Christmas, if we're allowed, and if you even last that long. Hey, if you ever need somebody to talk to about your wife, you can always come to me, because nobody knows her better than I do. And I mean, nobody. Let me tell you all a little something about my little sister. Gather round. Is she gonna do it? She's gonna do it. She may act all angelic now, but she wasn't always like that. It is true. I am not lying. When when we were in middle school, we we made up this little game together. Just a little something for the boys in our neighborhood. Our parents were away at work all day, which meant the two of us had the run of the house for hours. And so every day after school, we would pick a new boy off the bus, inviting him to come home with us. Only about half of the kids we ever tried to lure into our house ever did. And only like half of that half ever made their way up the stairs. And out of that half, only like a handful of boys had the balls to set foot into our room. And we'd wait under the covers, me and Sybil. We'd have to hold our breaths to keep ourselves from giggling, trying hard not to make a sound. And Sybil would put on this just really sweet voice, telling him to take off his clothes. That was our favorite moment, wasn't it, sis? Remember watching them tremble? That's like shiver across the room. Some would cup their hands over their crotches. Others would just duck their heads down, burying their chins into their chests. With their school uniforms on the floor, these little boys had nothing to hide behind anymore. Ugh, nothing but pimples and ribs, all freckly and trembling. And then Sybil would say, "Now get into bed," and just like little puppy dogs that all tiptoe over. We'd make them lie down in between the two of us. I would have made sure to pull down the blinds before getting undressed, flip off the lights before jumping into bed. He'd lie down in between the two of us. We stuck to our backs, shoulder to shoulder to shoulder, our arms the only parts of our bodies touching one another, but brr, that was enough. There was enough friction within our skin to make my breathing deepen. I can always get a sense of Sybil on the other end of that boy, whoever it was. The current of her person passing through his body and just making its way into me. I need another drink. I can feel my lips again, which means I needed another martini. Because I want to talk about Billy. Everybody remember little Billy Pendleton? You should. It's not like he lived down the street from us for 13 years or anything. Not like he was our neighbor for half our lives. Little Billy Pendleton had a crush on Sybil, but she treated him like shit all through middle school. He's too easy, she'd say. Where's the fun in bringing him home? Well, one day I had to stay after school for a detention, only to come back to the house and find him under the covers. Little Billy Pendleton's wrists are tied to my bedpost. He's pleading with me, begging for me to let him loose. So just as I start to untie the knot around his left wrist, Sybil comes walking back into the room, hefting our father's toolbox. Jumping onto the bed, she pushes me away. Don't let him go, she says. We haven't even started yet. And pulling the covers away, I see that he is naked. The stretch of his chest is covered in bruises, in hickeys. Hickeys. He had a trail of hickeys sprinkled all over him. Blood vessels bursting just beneath the sheath of Billy's skin. The negative space between my sister's lips is imprinted all across his body. He still had his tighty whities on. There was just barely a bulge at his groin, less than a lump, but more like a pimple. Merest hint of cotton stretching beyond its normal proportions. Pull his undies off, Sybil said. Why? I asked. Because I want to try something new, she said, pulling out a pair of pliers from Dad's toolbox. We kept all of Billy's pubic hair in an empty mayonnaise jar, collecting the remnants of Billy's prepubescence. Little Billy Pendleton's balls will be bald for good. In the name of grade school science, Sybil was determined to learn what made little boys like Billy Pendleton tick. She wanted to cut him open, just see the snakes and snails and puppy dog tails come spilling out, squirming across our bedspread. Well, I just stood by her side the entire time. Her own little Igor, devoted to the very end. Billy's face started popping up on telephone poles. I'd see his face, his yearbook picture, flickering by on the bus ride to school. One morning, I nearly choked on my cereal, looking up, find him staring right back at me from the back of our milk carton. Little Billy Pendleton. Scrawny and meek. Additional bits of his body beginning to stack up inside our closet. Jars full of hair, teeth, whatever Sybil here could pull. And when he stopped responding to her experiment, she got bored with him quick. His refusal to finish her pinches beginning to piss her off. Because she wanted to keep playing. That is the problem with these boys, sis. They give up before us girls are finished, leaving us with a need they can't fulfill. Am I right? Thought you would have figured that out with your little after-school laboratory. They quit too quickly. They will abandon you before you're through. You know what? Marrying him making much of a difference. Believe me, this guy's not going to be any different from the rest. And I don't think I'm going to be there to help you out with this one, sis. Because I'm tired of coming to your rescue every time you're through. When we were younger, I would have done anything for you. I was the one who dug a hole in our backyard, and I was the one who buried Billy beneath our swing set. I never said anything to anybody about him. Every secret you ever shared with me, I kept it close, making it sacred, believing it meant as much with you as it did with me. It always boiled back down to you and me, sis. Until now. Till you said I do to this lab rat. What makes him different than the others? What can he teach you that the others didn't? What can you learn from him that's making you leave me? Whoops. So what if I caught the bouquet today? Huh? Means I'm supposed to get married next, right? I'd never let my work get the best of me, sis. Fucking with the test subjects has always been your department. Me, I just clean up your mess once you're done. But fuck it if you think I'm following you along on your honeymoon.
I was wondering if you were gonna fall out. I didn't know if you were gonna like dive bomb or something.
I wasn't sure.
That was you updated it for the modern era.
Right? I felt like it might be time.
Well, that story is like
because nobody is
15 years old now. Good God, probably like 20 years old now.
Don't say these numbers out loud, Clay.
We're old. We are old people. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Pumpkin Pie Show!
Thank you for joining us.
Hanna Cheek!
Play McLeod Chapman! There we go.
Hey, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us tonight on this beautiful Halloween evening under quarantine. We hope you've had a good time. We hope you enjoyed at least one of the stories you heard tonight. If not them all.
Yes. Have a wonderful night. Stay safe. Be kind.
Be distant socially.
Yeah.
Wear your masks. Vote. And we'll see you. Maybe we'll see you in 2021.
Who knows?
The world is on fire. Fire. The world is on fire.
Oh, God.
Good night, everybody.